Free agency is well underway, and yes, the Eagles and Howie Roseman are hanging out with Bijan Robinson, becoming great friends, and all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean Howie Roseman isn't looking at all the free agents out there. He's still calculating the calculations of the cornbread, coming up with who's going to be the next best free agent for the Eagles to sign. Well, I got a few of my own I want to talk about. Dallas still stinks. You by the way, King Dingbat here, and yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. Howie Roseman and Bijan Robinson and the Eagles front office, they're sitting around having a little tea party, getting to know each other because they're going to be friends and partners for years to come because Bijan Robinson's going to end up in Philly. All right? But not for 1 second do I want you to think that Howie Roseman still isn't looking at the free agents. He's calculating the calculations of the cornbread, trying to figure out who could come in next, who would be a good deal. And there are two guys that I want to talk about that I think would fit perfectly and may come for cheap, especially if they wait a little longer on the free agency market. Now, before we get into it, if you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe because we do this every day. We got the draft coming up. We got free agency. We got live streams. You ain't going to want to miss it. And you are looking at the most censored, most throttled Eagles content creator in all of the internet. And if you've been subscribed for a while, you are a made man or woman in this family right here. You're made. And I appreciate your support. I appreciate everything you do. And we got a few capos. We got a consigliere. We are growing this family. We're getting bigger and bigger every day, Paulus. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are a few things I want to talk about in this video, a few positions to kind of go over, and I've been kind of waiting to get all my Bijan Robinson stuff out before we talked about this. So we're going to do that right now. All right, let's get to work. All right, so right now, free agency, as you guys know, is going on. The Eagles still have holes that they have to fill, pause. All right, they still got to do something about the linebackers. They still have something to do with the safety position. I still think you need a slot wide receiver. And I think, and I say this, go back to your bread and butter on defense. Always try to improve your pass rush. This team had, 70-something sacks last year. You want to keep that up. You're not going to have that many sacks, but you still want to be at top five, at least top five with sacks next year. And according to Elliott Shore-Parks, otherwise known as ESP, he says this: Pound Eagles are at $13.9 million in salary cap space after Darius Slay's new deal per over the cap. Still need Mariota, Williams, Morrow, and Evans to go on the books. They likely won't impact it a ton. Lane Johnson restructure is still a possibility, which would probably double their space. So it would take it to about $23 million from where they're at right now. So the Eagles have money. They have some space. They have the ability to do some things, okay? And I think, obviously, they're going to have to. It's as I said in my previous video, it's going to be tricky. Howie really has to thread the needle here, especially when it comes to the draft. You've got to be able to draft your defense and restock, retool it, for years to come, as well as draft guys that are going to be impactful. But, drafting Bijan Robinson or Gibbs, they're not the only way you can find guys that are impactful. I think you can find guys on both sides of the ball that could come in right now and help the Philadelphia Eagles out. And there are two guys, one on offense, one on defense, I specifically want to talk about because I think they both stand out, okay? The first guy I'm going to talk about is the slot wide receiver, right? The Eagles need a slot wide receiver. Well, many people want to trade Quez Watkins. There's a lot of talk that the Eagles could trade Quez Watkins. I'm under the impression when it comes to Watkins that you're not going to get much for him at all, if anything. Your better course of action with him and his value is to keep him. Let him get over his bad year last year. Let him come in motivated and give him competition to fight for that slot wide receiver position. I think Quez Watkins can be a good player in this league. I have not given up on Quez Watkins. I am not going to give up on him yet. I know he had some bad drops and some things were bad, but I think Quez Watkins is still good. I still think he can play, and I still think he can rebound. However, get some competition in there for him. And there's a lot of talk where, you hear people saying, take a wide receiver in the first round or early and then let them compete. I'm not opposed to it, to be quite honest with you. And I said this to Bonzology in my comment section. Shout out to Bonzology, because he was saying he doesn't agree with me on Bijan Robinson, but he thinks getting a good slot wide receiver would be the key to making the offense better. Now, we both agree the offense has to get better. You have to make it better to protect, you're not replacing 5 players. However, you can make your offense better, and he thought the course of action was a slot wide receiver, and he's not totally wrong. If I can't get a Bijan Robinson or a good running back, then yeah, I would look to upgrade, vastly upgrade that slot wide receiver position. But I think it's something that, you can do in free agency right now. I think there are guys that it can be done with. And one guy that sticks out to me is DJ Chark. Okay? DJ Chark, you guys all know him. We talked about him last year when he was a free agent. He was coming after last year, he's coming off, before he signed with Detroit, he was coming off like a 1,000-yard season, and stuff. And the kid is very talented. He's 6'4", 205 pounds. He's only 26 years old. And he's fast. You guys know DJ Chark is fast, man, okay? He had 30 catches for 502 yards and 3 touchdowns last year. He averaged 16.7 yards a catch. The thing with Chark is he was banged up last year. He had a lot of injuries. And now he's a free agent. And I think he's one of those guys that probably knows that he's, better than what he played last year. He may be looking for that 1-year contract. He may be looking for that 1 year, go out and prove it type deal. The thing about DJ Chark that I like, and this I didn't realize this until I was looking at his years in Jacksonville. He played, I think the year he went over 1,000 yards. One of those years he played 25% of his snaps from the slot. So he's been moved on the outside, he's been moved in the slot. He's played all over. He could literally come in and play the slot wide receiver. I say, if you could get DJ Chark on a good deal, bring him in and let him compete with Quez Watkins for a slot wide receiver job. And if you can do that, that would vastly improve that third wide receiver. I think DJ Chark would be a huge improvement off of what Quez Watkins gave us last year. And like I say, he's 6'4", he's big, and he's fast. The guy is very fast. So I think the Eagles, with that $13 million in cap space, of course, some of it's got to be used for draft picks and all that. But I would definitely look at DJ Chark, and especially if the longer this goes, the longer he doesn't sign, I think he could be a great sneaky signing for the Eagles to come in and play that third slot wide receiver position. So to me, that would be, if you got him in there tomorrow, he would already upgrade the offense. And that's what we want to do offensively. We want that offense to be even better than it was last year. That way, it'll help mitigate some of the loss that you had on the defensive side of the ball, and the young guys that you're going to draft will kind of get time to learn as you score 35, 38 points a game, as you rock Dallas into next week and next year. It'll be a beautiful thing. The other guy I want to talk about is on the defensive side of the ball. And this is more of going back to your bread and butter. Okay, the Eagles' bread and butter on defense is their pass rush. The Eagles get to the quarterback. They broke a franchise record this year. I don't expect them to have that many sacks, but I still expect the Eagles to get a lot of sacks. Now, you're going to get Derek Barnett back next year. That means nothing to me. I'm just telling you. I don't expect anything from him. I don't know how his contract is structured. If they can't cut him, release him, maybe trade him. Maybe trade him with a second-round pick and the 30th pick to move up and get Bijan Robinson. Draft 5, baby. Draft 5. But the Eagles need, at any time that they can improve their pass rush, you've got to take a chance and try to do it, okay? You lost Javon Hargrave in the middle. That's 11 sacks. But I still would not mind bringing in a defensive end, somebody that could rotate in, somebody who is specifically maybe a third down type guy, maybe not great against the run, but just a good pass rusher. I say any way that you can improve your pass rush, you do it. And one guy out there is Yannick Ngakoue. Now, Yannick Ngakoue is somebody we talked a lot about. You remember he was tweeting pictures of Reggie White and Eagle stuff, and he wanted to come to Philly, right? It didn't work out. He went, what? Where did he go? He got traded. I want to say Minnesota. Then he went to the Raiders. He had double-digit sacks, and then last year on a stinky Colts team. For being on a bad team, he still put up good numbers. Yannick Ngakoue, 6'2", 246. He's only 27 years old, okay? He had 9.5 sacks last year. I don't know what he would want. I don't know what you would have to pay him. But if it could be somewhere in the range on a one-year deal with Brandon Graham, maybe you can get it done. Maybe there's some way to figure something out. But if you could bring Yannick Ngakoue, put him on that defensive line, let him rotate in, especially with Brandon Graham. See, I like the idea that you got Brandon Graham's a little older. If I could keep him fresh, if I could rotate him in, I think it would be a great addition to the Eagles' defensive line, and it would greatly help improve that defense. Obviously, I know you guys are thinking about linebackers, you're thinking about safeties, and my thoughts on safety is I'd like to see that addressed in the draft. I would like to see them draft a safety in round 2, somewhere around there. And if they want to bring a veteran safety in, maybe they do that. There's talk about Rodney McLeod possibly being interested in coming back. He would be a bridge safety. If you wanted to take the kid out of Alabama, Branch, in the first round, I can't deny that. Like if you were in a situation where you got Brian Branch and then you got Bijan Robinson, I think you would come away with 2 instant starters, 2 impact starters. See, a guy like Branch is going to get drafted. God, I'm beautiful. I look like Denzel Washington. But a guy like Branch, he's going to start most likely right away. You're going to draft him. You're going to start him. Bijan Robinson, you're going to start. Jalen Carter, he might not start, but he's going to rotate in a lot. I like the guys that are going to be immediate impact. And Yannick Ngakoue is only 27 years old. So if he could come in on a 1-year deal, maybe he takes a 2-year deal or something like that. But if he comes in on a 1-year deal and has a great year, then maybe you extend him next year. Maybe it's time for BG to go. I don't know. But I think those are 2 guys right now that are out there. And I don't know exactly how much they want, but the more time that goes by, it can't be that much. And I think a guy like Yannick Ngakoue and DJ Chark, maybe 2 guys that want to come in on a prove-it deal, could be a perfect situation for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I know there are more free agents. We're going to talk about more free agents, but these are 2 guys that I think would help the Eagles tremendously right away. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. And remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. I'll tell you what, everybody's saying it. Everybody's talking about it. Even my kids are texting me. Draft number 5. Draft number 5. That's right. It is catching on, Eagles Nation. Draft 5. We've got momentum. It is building. There is a chance. Howie's listening. It's called Inception. Nick Sirianni. It's time for Inception in Howie Roseman's brain. Denzel Washington out.